Good morning, everybody. My name is Matt. I'm the Awakening Angler, and I am on Oneida Lake this morning. It started off excellent. I started trolling again this morning. You see I have a jigging rod in my hand now. I started trolling this morning. I made a little mistake yesterday. I forgot to plug my trolling motor batteries in last night. So I only had about half a charge on them because I trolled for about 5 hours yesterday on them. And I got about 3 hours out of them this morning before they died. Lithium, is a little funny. It works right up until it doesn't. And then it just stops. It's winding down, none of that fun stuff. She's all done. So I stopped trolling and I went back over the same spot. So I started trolling this morning, and I was on the edge of a drop off, and I was trolling. I had a shallow diver up on the shallow side, and I had a deep diver on a board out off the deep side, and I hadn't went 10 minutes. I was still messing around with my other rod, and I hear the one that I just put out start to creak. Hear the drag start to creep a little, and I looked over and it's so I get the board off, and you can tell right away it's a heavy fish. It's a couple good head shakes. I get the board off, I start getting them close, and then you start seeing that big head come out of the water like this. And my first instinct was, you're so used to seeing smaller walleyes on Oneida. When you start getting them up over 20 inches and then up into that, let's say 22 to 25 inch range, they are so noticeably bigger out here because you're just not used to it. You're used to that 15 to 18 inch walleye, all the time. And you see one that's got, a big head on it and shoulders, and it really makes it look even bigger. And so, I've had a couple 25s in the last 6-8 months out here. I've had a 23 and a 22 now already this spring out here in the last 3 days. And they fool me every time. There's, as far as I know, now I talked to the hatchery last year. I talked to the guys at Shackleton Point at Cornell. No one has ever officially recorded a 30-inch walleye on Oneida Lake. I'm one of 4 boats that I've seen out here today, which I think is awesome. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful day. Very little breeze. So anyway, I start getting that fish a little closer to me. And then all of a sudden you start in your head because you can't quite see what's behind that big head. You're like, oh, how big is this? And I got an 8-foot trolling rod that's a medium action, but it's not doubled right over, but it's got a good head shake. And all of a sudden those thoughts start going through your head like, man, what if I'm the first one to ever catch a 30-inch walleye on a Oneida Lake? Now it came in just shy of 23. But like I say, that big giant head on it, and I'm assuming it was a female. I didn't mess with it too terribly long, and I got it back in the water. Big through the chest, through the head, neck, and chest. Just a beautiful fish. Gorgeous. Again, I'm assuming pre-spawn. So let's talk about pre-spawn real quick. So the last 2 days, I've started down in front of Constantia where Scribe Creek dumps in. And I haven't taken a bite in there. I've been trolling, but I haven't taken a bite in there. All the trolling bites in the last 3 days have been in 15 feet or deeper. But we had a pretty good rain all day yesterday. And we got some, we definitely had some accumulation of rain, and it was almost 50 degrees out. So by nature, then it becomes a warm rain. I wasn't sure what to expect out here this morning. Across the board, I have warmer surface temps everywhere I've been out in the open lake. I'm in 19 foot of water right now, and it's 38 degrees. That's up 2.5 degrees already from Monday. So I went down into 3 Mile Bay, and I checked a couple creek mouths that come out of the swamp in there. And I was up in 2 foot of water, and you could see everything. I put my polarized on, and I looked and was sneaking around in there with the trolling motor. I had 42 degree water in there. I didn't see a fish. I didn't see anything except sand bottom and roots. So temperatures vary wildly right at the moment. And I have not had a fish jigging yet either. And I'm jigging the same spot where I've had 4 of the 5 walleyes on trolling, is where I've been jigging now for the last hour and a half, and I haven't pricked one. I haven't had anything, and I've cycled through probably 6 different blade colors, 2 colors of shiver minnow, 3 colors of swim baits, giving them anywhere from 5 to 10 casts a piece. I haven't done anything yet. I'm seeing some fish. But when I was trolling, they seemed to be orientating themselves towards this drop-off. So I figured I would jig it now once my trolling motor died. And like I say, hasn't happened yet. Every jig is a possibility, but so we'll see. I'll be back out in the morning. Very, very little wind today, although it did finally turn around out of the west-northwest, but it's 0 to 5. Very, very nice day. We've had some cloud cover, some sunny spots. I've switched in all those colors, even when I was trolling. The one bite that I had this morning was on a black and silver baby thunderstick, an original. I don't even know if they make that size anymore, but boy, there are times of the year that can be deadly. So I cycled through a lot of colors this morning in the 2.5 hours that I was trolling, and only just that one bite. But I did stay this morning pretty shallow. I was right around the 10-foot range, going up through some scattered rock and sand up on the top of a flat. It just didn't work. I don't know. I shouldn't say it didn't work. I didn't get bit, so I'll just say they weren't there. How about that? Same thing with this right now. Obviously, jigging will work. There's nothing to, there's no reason to think that you can't come out and jig these fish right now. Once you find them, just because the water's cold, you can change up things if you'd like. And go slower or whatever because you think the water's colder. But I've been trolling at 2.0 from 1.8 to 2.2. That's not slow, and that's not slow in the walleye world, and that's not slow for water being this temperature. Didn't seem to bother some of them. Now, if I slowed down, would I have caught more? I don't know. If I sped up, would I have caught more? I'm not sure. But I was right in that. Once you start getting a bite or two, you tend to stick with what was working. So I used to be pretty intimidated with warm water species in cold water. But I tell you, these last 5 years of my fishing life out here on this lake, as late as I can go into the year, and that's been anywhere from Halloween to New Year's. Seems like the colder it gets in the fall, now it's different. It seems like the colder it gets in the fall, the better the bite is. Now in the spring's a little different, but things are going to warm up quick. Whether we have any more winter left in us for this month or next, hard to say. But I think it's safe to say that we're on the warm up already. I've seen 2.5, 3 degrees this week alone in the last 4 days. So we'll see. I still think that if you're so inclined to come out and fish this morning, or fish before the season closes, I would say that because everybody's going to say, well, Matt, where should I go? Where should I start? What should I use? I would go right back to where you left them the last time you fished it, and start from there. I've only been in a couple small areas here this week, and I've been doing one specific thing, and so maybe I'm not the one to say, hey, do this, do that. But I don't think how you fish for them matters so much right now as where you fish for them. And these fish are going to start heading shallow. I mean, they're supposed to. They should. Now, maybe I haven't been shallow enough. Now, this morning I was in 2 foot of water, but that was all the way in the back of a bay. Maybe they're not in there. Maybe they don't want to go in there. I don't know. Those maybe questions you could write a book on just that. Maybe this, maybe that. So in the coming days, I'll start checking around in a little more gravel areas that are shallower, whether it be shoreline or mid-lake structure. The lake's 3 feet low, so it's a lot of the mid-lake structure is, I'm looking at it now, Wantry and Long and Little and Grassy. They're all out of the water, big time out of the water, more than they would normally be. Pancake's out of the water by a foot, and typically Pancake doesn't, you would never see that like that. So we'll see. Stay tuned. We'll see what the rest of the week brings. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And remember, keep your tip up.